Okay, everybody. So welcome to another Leading a Sustainable Future event. This one is all about waste and how you can reduce your waste. It's pretty cool. So hope you enjoy. If you want to look at some other events that are happening, you can scan the QR code there at the bottom. We still have a couple of other events going on until March 26th. So first of all, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. That today we are speaking and presenting on the traditional territory of the Lheidli First Nation. And anybody who is on Zoom, if you'd like to acknowledge where you are participating from, that would be great in the chat. Thanks. And just a quick housekeeping is for those of you on Zoom, make sure that you're muted if you're not speaking, just to limit background noise. And if you'd like, you can put your name and your pronouns in the community that you're in so we get to know you a little bit. If you have any questions, please put in the chat or raise your hand. And of course, videos are always optional, but if you are speaking, it would be great to see your video. So it would be easier to understand your speech. All right, and just a quick community agreement is be respectful. You can have opinions. This is why we're in an academic institution, is you can express yourself freely, but please don't personally attack anybody. Debate is encouraged as well, but please keep the content and questions related to the subject matter and don't interrupt someone when they're speaking. So. Okay, and this is just a very brief agenda. So first we're going to go through all the presentations, and then we're going to have a Q&A, and then we're going to have pizza and discussions afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to invite Oscar to introduce our first presenter. Pull up who is Abby? Let me see here. Okay, cool. So you can share your screen, Abby, whenever you're ready.
Cool, sounds good.
All right. TerraCycle. Amidst the global waste crisis fueled by overconsumption and a throwaway culture, TerraCycle stands committed to eliminating the idea of waste. Working collaboratively with businesses, government entities, and individuals worldwide, TerraCycle strives to divert waste from landfills and incineration. Representing TerraCycle as the business development manager, Abby Beck is a sustainability professional with a keen interest in the circular economy and behavior change. Join the discussion to explore TerraCycle's innovative solutions in combating waste and fostering sustainability for a brighter future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Oscar. That was an amazing introduction. And thank you everyone for inviting me to speak today. It's an honor. And I always love doing these things, spreading the mission of eliminating the idea of waste, right? So that is what TerraCycle was founded on. It is a mission-driven company, and we strive to succeed and perform and achieve that mission by identifying, I guess, end-of-life material solutions for those traditionally hard to recycle or unrecyclable materials. So think things that are existing outside of that blue bin, that classic recycling bin that your local municipal area will collect. So aluminum cans and glass, a lot of single stream plastics, those, although they could still definitely improve, they do have a good amount of local infrastructure already built out. But when you think of things like razor heads or coffee capsules, snack wrappers, multi-layer materials, those tricky things that at the end of its life, you never really know what to do with as an individual, as a consumer. I know I feel that weird guilt sometimes, even though it shouldn't exist because I didn't make the product. So I don't need to identify that end-of-life solution, but we're stuck with it, right? We use it and we don't know what to do at the end of its life. So what TerraCycle seeks to do is work with the brands and the manufacturers and the retailers who make and sell these products and sponsor recycling solutions that end consumers like ourselves have the access to use in order to collect and hopefully keep some of those trickier materials out of the landfill and into secondary material markets through different recycling processes. Depending on the material type, that will vary, But in a nutshell, that's what we do, right? So I have my screen shared to our website. We are a global company, but Canada is one of our markets that we do operate in. So as a consumer, everyone has access to this website, which is a super cool, super unique tool that I don't think enough people really know about. And there's a lot of programs on here that very large brands will actually sponsor and fund the recycling for their packaging. So just to shout out a few cool ones, Colgate and Crest, they've sponsored like an oral care one, so you can collect back all of your empty oral care containers to be able to recycle those. There's different options you can go through, and I would definitely recommend everyone, if you haven't heard of us or haven't had the chance to check us out, definitely go to that terracycle.com website, and you can see which options are available to your local area, because it does vary depending on exactly where you're located. But there are a lot of cool options here as an individual that you can utilize, depending again on where you're located and the types of materials that you're used to using on a day-to-day basis. So that is one of our main pillars within our business. The area that I operate in is more our enterprise level business. So what that does is we partner with larger corporations, the people who are unfortunately responsible for a lot of this global waste crisis. And we help them stand up these recycling programs, these national or global recycling programs. And they sponsor these programs. They provide their sustainability budget to go towards at least identifying an end-of-life solution for those materials that may otherwise have ended up in a landfill. I think that's about it on high level who we are as a company. I know this is going to be an open discussion, so happy to answer any specific questions, but I think I can pass it off now. I'll stop sharing screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. Cool. I have lots of questions for you after, so tight. Okay, so I'm going to invite Oscar to introduce the next speaker, and hopefully my laptop is still, yeah, fit. Thanks, Oscar.
Yeah, of course. It's a moving one?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, all right. Since 2018, BBRD has been a reliable provider of waste hauling and recycling services across central and northwest BC. As the sole locally owned and operated large commercial waste hauler in Prince George, they prioritize efficient and cost-effective services for their customers. In addition to waste hauling, BBRD operates a 14,000 square foot facility in Woodson, BC, where they process single-stream curbside recycling and residential products. In 2020, they partnered with Clean Farms for an agricultural plastics collection project. In October 2023, BBRD further expanded their services with the opening of the MRF in Prince George, accepting and processing various materials, including construction and demolition materials, cardboard, paper, and residential plastics. BBRD remains dedicated to being a local leader in the waste and recycling industry.
That's me. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm one of the owners of BBRD. I didn't prepare a formal presentation. I could tell you a little bit about myself and what we do. We're obviously a for-profit business, but we are, well, we have lots of years of experience in the waste and recycling industry. I personally have been in the industry for over 20 years. Started with waste management, and then myself and my business partner decided to open our own business and do it for ourselves and be part of the community was a big thing, and really, you know, work for our customers and give back that customer service. And part of that is really not just putting garbage in the landfill, it's also doing recycling. And we know recycling is really hard up here, as you all know. So yeah, we started, there was a problem in Smithers, which is why we opened the facility in Smithers first, because there was nowhere to put cardboard. Something as simple as cardboard. It was going in the landfill, a van came through and the facility that was there burnt down, so we came up with a solution there, which is why we opened the facility there. And that started with cardboard, and now we actually move recycling for Recycle BC through GFL. Right from as far as Kitimat and Stewart to the Wixit facility, and we process it and it gets sent away for the Recycle BC processing further on. And we also move it around here as well. And we recently opened the facility here where we're doing currently commercial cardboard processing. We've recently got a foam densifier, so we can do something with styrofoam, which is actually recyclable, yay. And we are going to be moving into organics and then construction waste further into that, which is exciting. And yeah, that's a little bit about us. And yeah, we're always looking for new exciting things to do and keep moving with it and really trying to do more for the community and try to keep stuff as close possible to Prince George without having to send it with the huge carbon footprint. But at the same time, we know that that's not 100% possible. So right now, cardboard is coming to us here locally, and we are only shipping it as far as Washington. It's not going anywhere further than that. It's going directly to market in Washington to a mill, which is good news. It's not going to Asia or anywhere further than that. So we're keeping it within North America, which is awesome. And yeah, we're just finding small things like that and organics that will stay all here. So that's a full circular economy here. So that's exciting too. So yeah.
And you pick up the recycling for UNBC.
And we pick up all the recycling for UNBC and waste. We do everything for UNBC right now. So yeah, that's exciting too.
Waste as well?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, we've been doing the waste for 3 years.
Oh.
Organics?
Well, all the garbage
Oh.
and whatever organics got in the compactor, but yeah, and then we do the recycling now. And UNBC is going to be doing their own organics is the exciting part. So they've already got that taken care of.
Awesome.
So yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to ask Oscar again to introduce the next speaker. Sorry. Sorry.
All right. Olga Pickard, a UNBC student and Green Day coordinator, is experienced in environmental education through roles with Green Chair Recycling and HSR Zero Waste Services. At Capilano Youth University, Olga led initiatives to educate students on waste reduction and recycling. She also organizes recycling events at Save on Foods Pemberton Plaza. As an executive member of Students for a Green University, she contributes to environmental advocacy and has written articles on compost and climate change for the PG Citizen newspaper.
Sorry for giving you my back.
It's all good.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm very happy that allowed me to actually present. Waste reduction is one of my passions. So I'm very happy to be presenting here and just to give you a little bit more information about how we all together can try to be more sustainable, conscious in this world of ours. So the first. Correct. So I just wanted to show you this picture, guys. So pretty much this is what we usually people or corporations advertise, like a beautiful turtle in the ocean. And of course, all of us, we have this love for animals but unfortunately, we tend to forget about what really happens to them So I'm sorry for the picture here, but so I don't know if anybody there was a video that came out in 2015 about this sea turtle that was found in the ocean. And so pretty much these two researchers found a straw stuck right in his nostril. And they took a video of it. But anyway, the first time when I watched that video, I to be honest, it was like it was like as if it was happening to another close family member, like to another human being, just watching the turtle suffer, seeing the blood, as you see the blood coming out of its nostril. It was very, it was heartbreaking, to be honest. So that's when my passion for waste started. So I started doing a lot of research about straws, plastic straws. And that's when I ended up finding out more about how much straws we tend to use, and we only use it one time and then we throw it away. Right. And then we start also thinking about like the one-time use items like coffee cups, plastic bags. So anyway, it was interesting to watch this video. It kind of just brought me back to reality and started thinking more about like other organisms that live in this planet, not just me as a human. I have to be able to also take care of everything that is around me. Right. So at one point in my life, I was going through some hardships, like everybody else, like everybody else goes. I'm someone who has OCD, so I cannot really like anytime I saw blood or dirt, I couldn't really touch it. So you might be wondering, how come I ended up going into the waste reduction industry or the waste management? So I was suffering for a very long time with my OCD, and it was horrible. But I started, getting help and everything, and I remember after doing the research about the straws, I remember that in West Vancouver, this is in West Vancouver, they were doing an event, and it was hosted by Green Chair Recycling, and so I decided that I am gonna completely continue to be afraid of my biggest fear, which is blood and dirt, or am I gonna go and confront it? So I decided that I was gonna volunteer for Green Chair Recycling. So Green Chair Recycling is an organization in Vancouver. So they go to different events, and they educate the public, and is run by volunteers. They educate the public about waste reduction. So they have like different bins, like you have the paper, you have the yellow bin for paper, the blue bin for plastics, and then you have the garbage bin, and then you have the recyclables. So pretty much when you go to an event, there's like a bunch of food trucks everywhere. So, and usually when you go to an event outside in the public, the first thing that you look is for, where am I going to discard my garbage, right? So yeah, so pretty much that's how we ended up helping the public. We will tell them, oh, this plastic straw unfortunately goes in the garbage. You would think it will go in the plastic bin, but actually goes in the garbage. And then a bunch of other things that the public didn't know. We would pretty much educate them where to discard their items. And so I volunteered for Green Chair Recycling, and then I started working for them. So I worked for them for about a year, and it was great. I went around I went to different high schools as well, and we educated the just elementary school and high school about waste reduction. And later on, I ended up finding this other organization called HSR Zero Waste. I don't know if anybody knows of that organization. They're very well known in Vancouver as well. And I will definitely recommend to go to their website and take their Intro to Zero Waste free webinar. It's free, and it's pretty much an introduction about like waste and how you can deal with that with waste. And anyway, so I started working for HSR as well. And one of the things that I did was going to their facility. And as you see the picture on the left, where there's the conveyor belt, we had to sort garbage pretty much. And I actually would recommend everyone to go through that experience. Sorry, but because it just makes you more aware and more conscious about like the waste that is being thrown and what actually, and the people that actually are working behind the scenes. It's actually, I wanted to go through that. And the reason why I wanted to go through that was because maybe there was something that I could learn about how I can communicate the message about waste, to the world. So that's why I wanted to go through the first step of like trying to sort things. So definitely recommend to everyone, even though most people want to go and do that. And anyway, and then HSR also partnered with Guildford Town Center in Surrey, in Vancouver. And pretty much I went to the Guildford Town Center and I went to every single vendor shop. And I educated pretty much every store about their waste reduction. And if for some reason they didn't follow up with what we mentioned the week before, it will be more like we will tell them, okay, so we told you this last week. We're hoping for next week when we come back to check on what we actually educated to not to happen again. So we were there sort of like police, trying to double check to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. So that was an experience, to be honest, for me, just going around to different shops. And I learned about, interacting with different people, and a lot of people didn't probably like me because they were afraid that I was gonna, I don't know, like somehow I was gonna put them in my, dark book for not doing the right thing. But it was just pretty much just a warning to let them know that, we came here, we partnered with you, and we're just hoping that you'll follow what we, have come here to do. And the purpose is, to educate you on something, and we're hoping for you to follow it up. And then when I was at Capilano University, I was a student there, and I pretty much, I'm someone who takes, if there's something that I'm really interested, and if I want to make it happen, I just go for it and do it. I did not, that space right there, I did not ask permission. I just went there pretty much with a big chair, with a big table, and I just grabbed the recyclables. And there's a Tim Hortons in the campus. So pretty much everybody was throwing their containers. Actually, at that time, which was in 2019, I think it was 2019, where you couldn't really recycle the coffee cups yet in Vancouver. So people were putting it in the paper yellow bin. And that was something that, that's something that an easy assumption for students to make, to put it in the paper bin. But unfortunately, we had to tell them that specifically because every organization deals with their waste in a different way. So Capilano University did not recycle the coffee mugs. So unfortunately, we had to tell them to put it into the landfill. But if you were doing it at home, for example, in Vancouver, you could actually put it in your blue bin. So it was just kind of interesting to give that information to them. But anyway, so I came up with an initiative. So did you see those mugs over there? I ended up getting a discount from Save On Foods, and I bought those mugs from Save On Foods. And pretty much the initiative was for students for 5 days. They had to bring their own mug, and for 5 days they had to, use it And they will come and check at the table here with me for those 5 days. And if they came with their mug for those 5 days, at the end of the day, they got like a reusable mug, a free reusable mug. So it was just pretty much just bringing awareness, like, you don't really have to use just a one single-use cup. You can bring your own mug. But yeah, it was a really interesting experience. I really enjoyed it. Sorry. Okay. And then Save on Foods. Save on Foods, it's of course we have a lot of Save on Foods here in Prince George. I used to work at the one in North Vancouver, and pretty much I just went right ahead to the manager and I was like, is there any way I can host an event here? And they let me, and one way that it was beneficial for Save on Foods was that it brought more customers to the store, and at the same time it allowed people to also learn about recycling. So this event is about other flexible plastic packaging. So only some organizations know about that. Probably BBRD knows about OFPP. So other flexible plastic packaging, it includes pretty much everything that you throw, like chip bags, when you're having a granola bar, the plastic that you use, usually put it in the garbage, like net bags. It includes actually a bunch of things in the category of other flexible plastic packaging. So anyway, I decided to collect those from customers. And if whoever brought the most actually ended up getting a $100 Save on Foods gift card. So pretty much this happened during COVID. So I like challenging things. So I wasn't really afraid of about COVID. I was like, just be cautious, keep your distance, be aware, wear your mask. But pretty much what I did was I had this poster, Let's Work Together poster on the far left, just right at customer service desk. And pretty much I announced it to everybody at the Save on Food stores that this was the sort of like the competition. Like, so if you went home for a month, collected as many other flexible plastic packaging, and then at a certain day you brought all those back to here to Save on Foods, I have to actually go through every single bag to make sure that they were the correct ones as well. And if whoever brought the most, anyway, they got something back. But a lot of people were very happy about that, because they were saying, oh, thank you, Jim Patterson, because Jim Patterson owns Save on Foods. So they were saying, thanking him for starting this pilot program. But I just sort of said it out loud, even though it was only 7 times that I did it. But and I wanted to continue, but unfortunately I didn't have the support. So I mean, I didn't have enough people. Otherwise it would have kept on going. And that takes me here to the present. When I came here to UNBC, just September 2022, I saw something wrong quickly in the dining hall. So I decided to come up with a signage, which is the one on the far left. Far right. So right away, I thought that the dish return area in the dining hall here at UNBC needed a proper signage. So on my own, I just went and I ended up creating that. And then thank goodness, the person in charge let me put it in the on the wall so everybody could see like what goes in the garbage, what goes in the compost bin, and what goes in the recycling bin. At that time, I thought we had a compost, but we didn't have one. So unfortunately, but anyway, I was happy that the university was able to let me, put something so people can actually visually see what goes in the garbage or what goes where. And then, of course, yes, I ended up writing a few stories about, one was in regards to like climate change. And the other article that I wrote, it was about how the disappointment about UNBC not having an organics compost. So I wrote that as well, and hopefully nobody took a grudge on that, but eventually, slowly, we started creating more conversations about bringing the compost program back. And now, thanks to Anne, we are going to have a compost program very soon. And which leads me to being the Green Day coordinator for these events, which is the Leading a Sustainable Future at UNBC. Yeah, so pretty much I am just here to, help aid, educate, and lead students to a better, conscious, sustainable Earth. So I hope my story somehow can, I don't know, allow you to take initiatives on your own to do something in your own lives in regards to sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olga. So inspiring, and we're so lucky to have you here. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna have Oscar again to. Oh, sorry, Johnny. Sorry. Oh, sorry, not Oscar, Johnny this time. Oscar, you have a break. Johnny to introduce the next speaker. I password. This one. What?
Not quite.
Okay, this is thinking.
Windows.
Yeah, I know.
I apologize in advance. Every slide is gonna get loud at the beginning and wake you up. So make sure you're paying attention.
Christina Wall, the proprietor of Wall to Wall, oversees a second-hand hardware store and recycling center specializing in reusable building materials. The store offers an array of items, including nails, light fixtures, air duct covers, cabinets, and various odds and ends, catering to residents seeking budget-friendly renovation solutions. Christina Wall established Wall to Wall with the aim of providing a local resource for repurposable construction materials, diverting them from landfills. The store operates under the ethos of 3 R's: renovate, recycle, and restore. Since its inception, Wall to Wall has prevented an estimated 75 tons of material from being discarded out of the landfill since 2019. Instead of allowing these materials to go to waste from demolition projects, Wall to Wall repurposes them or recycles them to promote sustainability in construction and renovation practices.
Christina is here, but she's going to be talking here. All right.
Welcome to all of you who have joined us for Don't Let It Go to Waste, Actions for a Cleaner Future. It's an honor to be one of the presenters this evening. Hi, my name is Christina Wall. I'm a woman entrepreneur, a sole proprietor, and the owner and founder of Wall to Wall, Renovate, Recycle, Restore, a recycle center for reusable construction material and secondhand hardware stores serving Prince George area. Last year, I was a finalist in the Small Business BC Impact Award, placing Wall to Wall in the top 5 businesses in the province. I am honored to present the 2023 Prince George Chamber of Commerce Business Excellence Awards in Environmental Innovation presented by UNBC. Most people in Prince George and Lonely remember me from the old Habitat Restore, where I worked for 8 years, from 2004 to 2011, and for my involvement with the local Habitat for Humanity affiliate, where I helped build what would later become my own home in 2005. If you've never been to a restore, short for recycle store, these secondhand stores, like wall-to-wall, accept lightly used construction items to resell to the public, but as an ongoing fundraiser for Habitat for Humanity, a nonprofit organization that builds homes for low-income working families in their communities like mine. Sadly, years after I moved on to other opportunities, our local affiliate folded and our restore closed, leaving a void in Prince George. Using the restore started contributing to a big problem. With no other option available in Prince George, local businesses, contractors, renovators, and homeowners now had to pay the ever-rising tipping fees at the landfill for materials they previously donated, increasing costs significantly for both disposal and the labor. Unfortunately, some people were even choosing to illegally dump their items into our beautiful forests. And it was clear to me that Prince George needed a place to renovate, recycle, and restore their items, and the facts supported a clear need for something to be done. Did you know construction is one of the largest and fastest growing industries in Canada, employing over 1.6 million and contributing billions into the economy annually? However, how much waste do you think construction contributes yearly? The answer? It disposes about 30% of our annual waste. And in this industry, waste is created even during the construction of a new build. What percentage of the materials from a new build do you think ends up in the landfill if there's nowhere else for these materials to go? Well, in 2019, talking to contractors and renovators, the average was 8%. Looking closer at how waste is defined by Statistics Canada and exploring a few definitions and terms will help better interpret the data shown in the next slides. You will hear the term MSW. This is short for municipal solid waste and has 3 primary sectors. Residential waste, which is disposable materials generated by households. ICI waste includes discharge from businesses, large industries, and institutions like hospitals and schools. This also sometimes can include CRD waste. What is CRD waste? CRD waste is construction, renovation, and demolition waste, but sometimes is referred to DLC, which also stands demolition, land clearing, and construction waste. This is waste generated by construction, renovation, and demolition activities. This includes doors, windows, painted wood, drywall, and pretty well anything to use to build a house or other building structures. And a lot of it you can recycle at will. In 2016, Canadians generated approximately 34 million tons of municipal solid waste. Of this amount, 9 million tons, 27%, was diverted through material recovery facilities or centralized organic processing operations, example, recycling and composting. And 73%, or 25 million tons, was sent for disposal in landfills to incineration facilities for thermal treatment, example, energy from waste gasification, or for residual waste processing, example, conversion to an alternative fuel source. Here you can see the 3 sectors of municipal solid waste: residential, ICI, and CRD or DLC. Canada's 73% of residual MSW, or approximately 25 million tons in 2016. Residential contributes 16.5 million tons of waste. ICI contributed 11.5 million tons, and DLC created approximately about 3.2 million tons. Each of these sectors is divided into approximately 15 categories of materials, but because most of the DLC waste is composed of wood, building materials, and plastics, we will focus mostly on those 3 categories. The above graph shows that residential waste is approximately comprised of 2% wood, 4% building materials, and 12% plastics. ICI waste included 8% wood, 4% building materials, and 16% plastics. And with DLC waste, I will get more into details in the next slide. Looking deeper into the data on the composition of CRD waste, residual waste, the above graph shows. According to the 2016 Statistics Canada Biennial Waste Management Industry Survey, wood makes up 40% of DLC waste, building materials 34%, and plastics 5%. This adds up to 79% of our total waste created by this sector. 79% of 3.2 million tons. At a time when renovation and construction is on the rise, it is important to push the concept of a circular economy. By recycling and reusing materials, we can create less waste, reduce the use of natural resources, save our landfills, the environment, and create savings for consumers in the form of reused materials. After I spent years trying to figure out how to fulfill my dream of creating a service to address the waste problems in Prince George, identified by this data, and to contribute to a circular economy, my dream became a reality. Wall opened its doors December 2019 as a recycle center, a second-hand hardware store, and a place to find items for restoration and upcycling projects, with the vision of creating and contributing to a green economy in Prince George. Local businesses and contractors now have a place to recycle reusable building products and construction leftovers that would otherwise have gone to the landfill. Contractors, renovators, homeowners, and any other environmentally conscious individual have a cost-effective way to obtain the materials they need while helping the environment. And Prince George and the members of our community now have a destination to search for treasures or for those hard-to-find items for all their renovation needs and upcycling ideas, like New Lane, the garden featured in the bottom image. This was created from items recycled at Wall to Wall. As a business, Wall to Wall is a bit of an anomaly because its wares are provided by the public for the good of the public, and it fills the void for the environmental need to renovate, recycle, and restore building materials that would instead end up in our local landfill. Between 2019 and 2023, Wall to Wall has diverted over 75 tons of construction material from going into the landfill while saving businesses and members of this community a great deal of money. But unfortunately, not everywhere has a similar service and continues to throw perfectly good materials away as waste. When I started out, I never imagined the impact Wall to Wall would have on Prince George and the communities that surround our beautiful city, or the Wall to Wall Facebook family where we share our upcycling ideas. And feeling the joy from helping people with their renovation needs, doing my part in saving the environment, and with all the community support there is here, I am proud to say that to me, Wall to Wall is more than just a secondhand store. It's an antique and collectible community hub where I do my best to bring back the feeling of an old general store. I want my customers to feel welcomed, unhurried, and to experience some old-fashioned friendly. However, don't anyone get the wrong impression. I also love people who come in to rummage through a box while thinking outside a box. We don't have to. I would like to thank everyone who joined us this evening and to UNBC for hosting. I invite you to visit me at the store and follow my Facebook page, and I hope to see you soon and look forward to answering your questions.
Yes, please, if you haven't already, please like the Facebook page and visit her at our store.
You come pet a cat.
And pet a cat, exactly. Cool, all right, so I will have Johnny to introduce the last speaker. Oh, actually, just me. Just grab this. Okay. Oh, is it switching again? You don't have to introduce me. It's fine. Yes, I think you all know me or sort of know me. So I'm Anne. I'm the sustainability manager at UNBC, but in my sort of spare time, I also am passionate about lots of other things. And like Olga, if I see some problems, I want to fix it somehow. So I do that as part of this nonprofit that I am part of called Eco Living Community. And Eco Living Community started actually just from a youth program. We were just 4 youth from UNBC and we wanted to do some sustainability work. We found each other, we founded this nonprofit and we started in food security, but then actually I really wanted to do something that was different from that because I was really passionate about just repairing things and finding ways to reduce waste by, you know, teaching people how to repair or having a tool library or a library where people can borrow things instead of just buying things all the time. Because I find a lot of the things that we buy isn't necessary. So that's why in 2023, I applied for a grant on behalf of Eco Living Community from the Prince George Community Foundation. And we got it, thank goodness, to actually start the pilot repair cafes in Prince George. And it's the first repair cafes in Prince George, I think, because I haven't seen them around. So, but actually, this is not the first repair cafe in the world. So there are actually tons of them. There's like over 2,000 repair cafes, and it started in Amsterdam in the Netherlands in 2009. And essentially the point of a repair cafe is you have anything broken, you would bring it to the repair cafe. So it can be electronics, it can be your clothing, it could be toys, for example, and you bring it to the repair cafe and there will be volunteers there who would help you fix your products. And how does this help reduce waste? Well, of course, you're not going to throw it away, right? Because if you're fixing it, it has a continued lifespan. And so you're going to use it for as long as you can. And if it's broken, you go and fix it again. And so it is very sustainable if you're repairing something rather than just throwing away it in landfill. And so, yeah, that's how it started. So in 2023, we had a couple of repair cafes. And so this is just the slide that we usually put for our repair cafes. I just put it in here because I didn't have time to prepare much. But I just want to talk a little bit about the right to repair movement. So have you guys heard of this term called planned obsolescence? Yeah, okay. Like some people, yeah. So basically it means that companies, manufacturers, they make products purposefully with a limited lifespan. And either they do this by phones is a really bad culprit. Basically, even if like the battery runs out or something like that, fine, but they don't provide software updates, right? For really, really old phones. And so you want to keep using this phone, nothing's wrong with it, but they don't support it anymore. And so you can't use the same apps as you did before, it's not supported. And so you're forced to essentially, as a consumer, go out and buy another product, even though the one you have in front of you is perfectly fine, right? So that is planned obsolescence, and it's a real thing, okay? It's not a conspiracy theory. Companies actually do this to to basically motivate consumers to buy all the time, materialism, right? And so the EU and some US states have actually passed legislation to sort of encourage, well, the EU especially, so there's two sides of it. Basically, you can encourage people to repair by changing copyright laws, so allowing companies to basically not sue you if you're going to try to repair something, because sometimes you need to access the code or you need to modify it in a certain way, and that might be an infringement of copyright, right? So basically, there's legislation that says that if you're repairing something, there's an exception made for you to do that, to modify it. But in the EU, they actually force the manufacturers to actually make their products repairable. And sometimes they even say you need to create a product where people can everyone can use it. So for example, you know, the USB-C? Yeah, so there's the USB-C, so there's different USB types. There's one for Apple and then there's one for Android, right? And so they're basically saying you need to create the same one for all of the phones, basically. And so they're actually being more proactive. They're actually forcing the manufacturers and the companies to actually make their products a certain way. Not putting it on the consumer, basically, to try to repair it, but to make the manufacturers make their products repairable themselves. And I think that's the approach that we should also encourage as well. And into 2023, so Canadian legislation wasn't that progressive until now, but there was a bill called C-244 that amended the copyright law. So I told you about copyright to allow people to repair their products. And so that is a good start, but still a little bit more to be done on that. So essentially, what do repair cafes do? They check off these boxes. Basically, they make information available to people. So how do we repair our products? Some of them can be repaired. So some people have the expertise to do that. They have the information available to help people, right? And they can also, repair cafes can also tell people what can be repaired, what can't be repaired. They can make the parts and tools available, right? So a lot of these volunteers, they have their own tools that they are familiar with to repair the products. Of course, the parts is a little bit tricky because some manufacturers, they create their own products that are proprietary. They don't make their products, their parts, let's say, usable throughout all of the different, like, let's say you have an oven, right? One company might have one product just for their oven, not for all the other ovens. And so finding that particular part is very difficult. And so having it sort of, uniform throughout, through all the manufacturers having the same parts, I think would have to be a solution, but is not there yet. Of course, allow unlocking. So that's a little bit different, but some, as I told you, because of copyright laws or other things, some companies don't actually allow you to unlock the code to change certain things about the product to make it repairable in the first place. And of course, as I mentioned, accommodating repair in the design. So making, let's say, laptops that are modular. So you have the batteries, you have the RAM, you have all the different parts that you can actually swap out. Some of them you can't. So I'll show you some examples of that. So these wireless earbuds that some of you might have. Okay, so those are actually not repairable. I would say none of them are. And the reason why is they make the batteries so small to accommodate the very, very small size, because people always love small, right? And in order to make something super, super small, you need to make something that is really, really too small that you have to glue it onto the electronics. And so when you glue it on or you weld it on, you can't actually repair that. You take it out, you can't swap another one back in. So and of course, these wireless headphones, you charge it for a number of times, it's going to run out of battery. So these ones in the landfill eventually, or yeah. Okay, how about laptops? Okay, some of you have laptops, all of you have laptops, I think, nowadays. But you can see that sometimes they have the RAM or the hard drive soldered on to the laptop. When it's soldered on, basically it's like welded onto it. And so you can actually, so when you're looking for laptops, I recommend you look for ones that don't have it soldered on, because then you can, let's say if you want to upgrade your laptop, you can always swap in another one and you can keep using the same one instead of just throwing it in the trash. So that's another one. Okay, electric vehicles. Okay, we know it can swap out the battery, but another thing is availability of the parts, right? That's a problem because I've been reading news a lot about electric vehicles, their batteries. Essentially, if there's a problem with it, they have to wait for years, maybe 1 or 2 years. And who's going to wait 1 or 2 years for a battery to swap out, right? So making the parts available for people to swap it out is good. Otherwise, what's going to happen? This guy's going to buy another car, unnecessary, right? We can just have our electric vehicle and then just swap out a better battery, but it's really, really hard to do that these days. So I really hope that this will improve in the future if we want to go through to a future where we have more EVs. Okay, how about printer cartridges? Do you ever have this issue where you buy the printer cartridge, it actually costs sometimes as much or more than a printer if you buy brand new? I find it ridiculous. I never buy printers anymore because I try not to print anything. But a lot of the times, if you have your own printer, it's better to buy a new printer than to get the cartridge itself. It's just ridiculous. So, so these are just some examples to show you about planned obsolescence, but also ways that manufacturers try to limit the ability for consumers to repair things. And that's where Repair Cafe comes in. And there's something called Repair Monitor. So essentially it tracks the different manufacturers. So if someone comes in with the Toshiba or with the Sony, they actually say, is it repairable? And they have this data that's accumulated throughout all the repair cafes. And so that's some good data for us to show the governments, which companies are complying, which companies are not in terms of the repair. So I think that is great. And you can see here, we're the first repair cafe there. We're over on the Repair Cafe website. So, so that's really, really nice. And I hope we will continue to do the repair cafes because I think it's really fun. It builds community too. So these are the benefits. We had a repair cafe and people wrote down what the benefits are. We reduce waste. We save money. That's a big one. I'm really, really cheap. So I don't like to buy new things for that reason too. So because of inflation, this is good too, because it makes things more affordable for yourself. If you repair things, you save the earth, you give something old a new life, and you learn something new, because oftentimes when you go to a repair cafe, people don't have the skills, but when you diagnose something with them, then you're like, oh, I can repair it myself at home maybe, right? So I think it's great for people to learn new skills through the repair cafe as well. And you can brag about it to your friends that you repaired something and they didn't, so. Okay, so we had 3 repair cafes over the last summer. So we had one on bicycles. Yeah, some people came out for that, and we had a technician that showed people how to repair some basic things. So I'm just going to go over some people fix their bicycles. We also have textile repair. So of course, if there's any clothing that needs to be mended, if there's any holes in your socks, I know we all have those, then you can go there. And it's nice, people can bring their families as well. It's really, it really builds community. And here, this is Yihang. So she actually was the organizer of the repair cafes. I wasn't actually attending any of them, unfortunately. I hope I will get to attend one. Well, actually I did. There was one before this event, actually. But yeah, this is her jeans. She fell down really badly. And this is a before and after picture. So she mended it, and wow, it looks really cool. Like everyone loves to have holes in their jeans. It's like a trendy thing now. So there you go. She has that. Yeah, and then we also have home appliance as well. We have people fixing, let's say, DVD players. I think that's a laptop cooler, I think. Yeah, and these are all volunteers. They just come and they try to repair people's stuff. And what's next for us is basically we want to launch a tool library, because we have funding to buy tools for the volunteers to help others to mend their stuff, or for the electronics to swap out batteries or whatever. And so we're hoping we can have a tool library, an official tool library. We donated our tools to the public, PG Public Library. And so hopefully they can lend them out to people to fix their own stuff. That's the dream. It is there, and we just need to formalize it a little bit. And we hope to plan to organize at least twice a year repair cafes. If any of you guys want to join us as a volunteer, or to even join our eco-living community, that would be great, because we definitely need more people to help us out to organize these things. Manaim here, he's the organizer for the repair cafe that just happened before this event, and he's just 18 or 19. He's like in high school. No, he's not. He's younger. 15. He's 15 years old, people. So yeah. He is he's really great, but he's in high school, and it's incredible how much time he put into this. So thank you, Manaim, and we need more people. So hopefully you can join us, and hopefully we can expand more repair categories. So if you guys have any ideas on what you want to see in the next repair cafe, some ideas are like toys, carpentry, book binding. Maybe if you have a book that's broken, we can maybe fix it. Some shoes. So if you have any ideas, let me know later on in the question period. So yeah, well, thank you very much. Okay, so now we have question period. So if anyone has any questions at all, and those of you on Zoom as well, I'm just gonna pull up the chat here. Then let us know, or anybody in the audience. Oh, Terry put down ifixit.com, a great site for fixing anything. So yeah, thank you. Oh, I do want to acknowledge all of the people that helped us with the Repair Cafe, which is Reeps, EPG, everyone who was supportive of us. There's Prince George Public Library as well. Yeah, it's really a community effort. So thanks, everybody. Yeah, so any questions? I don't know from the, yeah.
So with the UNBC waste collection, what do you think when you collect the materials? Is it really, or is the facility following the sorting procedures? How difficult it is to actually?
Actually, a discussion about that not too long ago, and we're working on it. So we're talking about doing some new signage. It's not so much a little bit inside, mostly the outside bins. So like parking lot A bin.
Housing one maybe.
And the housing one, we get a lot of garbage in the recycling. So I think, yeah, we have to rethink how we're doing it, and we're gonna work through those bumps. And then inside, I think just sorting it a little differently and maybe doing a little bit of retraining, and maybe that's where Olga will come in. And I think it's just doing it a little differently because we're a new company to doing it. And the old company did it their way, and I think we can improve on what was happening, definitely, because I think we're gonna do it a little differently anyways than what they did it, and we'll probably recycle more than they did. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for sure, and I think that we can do better and work with everybody a little closer, because we want to do it right, and we want to work with you guys, right? So that's the big thing. Yeah. Yeah, because when I see it when they dump them on the ground, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so how do you think you can educate maybe the housing facilities, students that are there? So if that
Yeah.
happens, like once you have that in the plan,
We're willing to come and talk to people, and yeah, like if we work with people like Olga, and then like we do training sessions and stuff, and I think signage will be huge, and making sure that it's, really like legible and easy to follow. I think that's a big key, is it, very simple, right? Just making it simple for people. So this hole is for this, and with pictures and words, right? So, because I know there's a lot of international students, there's people from everywhere, and everybody does it different everywhere. Like, it doesn't, I mean, you showed examples of that. It doesn't matter where you are, but like everybody does it a little different. So just to make sure that everybody knows where everything goes and just make it simple, I think is the big thing. And then, yeah, lots of just education.
Thank you.
Good question. Yes, Alex, you had a question.
It's a question and I'll start with a comment. I want to thank all of you for everything that you do, because it makes it a better community, and there's so much to be done. It's wonderful that there's all these ends at the table. My question is around electronics. And you brought it up actually at a meeting we were at, Olga, like just like the recycling of electronics. And I was faced with that this week. I'm off-grid on photovoltaics, and we had to replace a controller, and now the controller is garbage, basically, right? And I don't know what to do with it, because I try not to have any garbage. So while I was listening to you, I was thinking, well, maybe someone knows how to fix it. I think I was thinking, but that's like, we're talking, from my perspective, pretty high level electronics. So I don't know if it's fixable. And then I learned that, I don't know if you all know this, but I learned that the Salvation Army apparently collects electronics and uses it as a fundraiser. And then they sell it, I think, for recycling.
So
Really?
I could speak to
I'm
that.
sure.
Okay,
So
great.
there is electronics recycling in Prince George.
Well, there is, okay.
Yes, so different depots collect it, and Salvation Army is one of the dedicated depots, and I believe you just drop it off there. I don't know if they actually collect it. They may. I know they have a little truck, but anyways, you can drop it off there. They do get money for it. It's part of it's one of the EPR things. So like for BC, it's one of the programs that would they do collect electronics for the program for BC. And all those electronics get collected and bundled up and they get shipped away for recycling. So yes, you can, there's all sorts of electronics that could go into that. We do that kind of thing out in Smithers. So there's like DVD players, stereos, old laptops, computers, any sort of electronics, old electronics that are broken, old computers, monitors. Then they have also small household appliances is another program. Bulky appliances is another program, which I believe you can do at the landfill. But yeah, they're all EPR programs that you can recycle this stuff. So it's not going in the landfill. You can take it to the landfill and then they recycle it.
And we know that it's getting recycled.
Absolutely,
because
100%.
I don't totally trust it anymore because there's been so many.
100% it is, because it's a program that there is a payment program for it, right? So they get paid for recycling it kind of thing. So they wouldn't put it in the landfill. It doesn't pay them to do that, but it does actually get put into the recycling program. But yes, the Salvation Army is a depot and it would go to them and then they would package it up and send it away. I think, yeah, I was gonna say, PG Recycling is another one that does it as well.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Cindy. Sure, yeah, follow-up question?
Do they accept the batteries? I mean, AAA.
Oh, yes.
And drugs.
Yes.
Drugs accept some, I wanna say PG Recycling does, yeah, they have the little battery boxes, so that, yeah, you can take them to them and they
Yeah.
can do those too.
We also accept them here too, but it's not very visible. I have to work on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, so some questions in Zoom land here.
Yeah, Terry would know.
Yes, Terry, all batteries accepted in PG. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm not sure who was first here, but I think I saw Joanne's hand up. Oh, and also don't forget Abby as well. Abby is a panelist in Zoom. Yeah. Yes, Joanne.
Thank you for your presentation. It was really nice to hear all your experience and what you have to share. And just to touch on this electronics recycling, it's kind of like, as he was saying, and there's a lot of controversy where is ending up all this electronics. And there is an organization called the Electronic Recycling Association, ERA, and they recycle all across Canada. And I think it's kind of like the most reliable one. I'm not sure if the program that you mentioned is working with them, but yeah, even with like some of the containers, and there are studies made by UBC, and they track some of the containers going to ending up somewhere in Asia and not being recyclable. And so like it's a lot of controversy on those topics, but I would recommend this to check on this organization, which is kind of the most reliable. And the other part, it was because we started with Blue Beam, and I was thinking about what you mentioned about what to do at UNBC, because it's like you have been working with UNBC for the last 3 years, you mentioned. And what happened with them is like, my question was more like, what are you, is it enough, the beams that you can find at UNBC? Because like, for me, I couldn't find like all people, where can I dispose all my trash? And it's just like trash from school. Like I don't have to, like if I have cardboard, like maybe if we have some spaces where we can just leave it and somebody can reuse them. And that might help, because what we are doing is just like kind of reducing all the amount of cardboard and then just putting in these small holes. and it's kind of interesting because like we're just creating garbage, but in reality we can go through the whole process of reusing the item and looking for other possible, I don't know, just reduce everything that we are producing. And so like, I think how the bins, how we can find the bins on campus are not properly set up, and we don't have as many options as we should have, like just these batteries, like for the rechargeable ones, like there is no like a clear sign where to find it. We have to ask somebody who is just like one specific person who knows where to do it. If you go to the bookstore and I want to recycle, like, let's say my inks, or when I finish using my pens, I can do that. And so like, and I will call this the other question for TerraCycle, like, who is the person who should be promoting, if you have brands and already pay for collecting all these residues, who should be doing the marketing part? And so like, we as students should get all this information that what we could recycle or not. So like, I will ask like how to be more involved and on taking actions, because like the program might exist, but if we don't get to the students, like that's a huge issue. And thank you.
Yes.
Can you summarize? Like,
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, sorry, the audio was a little bit, it was difficult to hear you, but from what I'm understanding, you're saying that it's difficult for students to get information about what to recycle at UNBC, right? And it's very confusing. And I agree, maybe I can answer this question because I'm the sustainability manager and this is my responsibility. And yes, I totally agree with you. We're quite lacking in education, we're lacking in signage, but hopefully, you know, with Olga's help and also with everybody, even BBRD, just creating cooperation partnerships with people to see how we can best get the message across and what can be recycled and what can't be. I think hopefully in a year, we will see a lot of progress. Yeah. And with the in-vessel composter that is coming as well at the end of August, it will sort of change our waste streams and what we can do with our waste in terms of organics as well. So I'm really hoping that we can expand and ensure that people are educated on this topic. But thank you for flagging that issue here. We do have an issue at UNBC and I'm working hard to try to fix that. So thank you, Joanne. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask TerraCycle, Abby, if you wanted to add anything on the point of e-waste or anything that was discussed, because I know you were there and.
I'd say that I really did love what everyone else focused on, because I do think that reduction and repair obviously should be the first step of anyone's waste reduction journey, is looking towards these repair cafes, looking to repair the things you have and not just purchase new, obviously. So I think when you consider someone like TerraCycle, when you think of something like recycling, although it is important, it is the very last step. It is the last step you can take before something will unfortunately go to landfill. So I think that's also something just to consider. I'm sure everyone in this room is well aware of that and obviously already considering that. But it's something that we really want to recommend and make sure everyone is utilizing the recycling services properly, right? Because you don't want to break something down when it could be repaired and fixed, and parts of it could be used without having to be broken down and reprocessed, because that is still going to add a lot of additional resources and a large footprint. So I think, like everything in life, it's never going to be a silver bullet solution. It's never going to be very straightforward. But the whole idea is to move into these more circular systems, a circular flow, trying to eliminate the entire extraction process and the extraction of those new materials. And like I said, recycling and things like reuse are things that you can focus on doing after you look through that reduction in the repair side of things.
Yeah, thank you, Abby. Yeah, and then I have a question with you on that, because we do have a lot of cigarette butts on campus. And so I know that you accept cigarette butts, which is quite unusual. But you accept a lot of things that people don't usually accept, right? In the recycling domain.
Yeah, for sure. Cigarette butts is a really big one. That is like a lot of times like a local municipal township or local government will actually work with us to kind of co-sponsor that. Because that is something that you can pretty quickly kind of stand up a little. There's already like those cigarette receptacles where you can collect the used ones because they are a fire hazard. So the receptacle itself, cigarette users are already used to not just throwing it away in the trash. They already have that behavior in mind to do something with it at the end of its life. So making it recyclable versus a landfill collection is a super easy way to eliminate a pretty massive amount of waste and being able to aggregate it and source it into a single stream also further obviously drives down that environmental impact. So there's no need to sort it out. People are just putting those directly inside that receptacle.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. All right. So a question from Alex. You have your hand up.
Hi, Anne. This is Alex Lautenschach, and my partner Sabina is also here. We're calling from Vancouver Island. But we have a question for you personally. What do you do as an organizer, and perhaps other organizers as well? What do you do to encourage more people to volunteer for events such as repair cafes?
Yes, good question. Okay, so I'm going to answer first and then anybody can jump in if you have organizing experience. But yeah, so actually I forgot to mention they're volunteers, but we do provide an honoraria. So that's an incentive for them because I know it takes some time out of their day to come. And also the tools, if they are bringing any tools that are expendable, let's say, not expendable, but they use it towards the repair, then we would reimburse them for that. So little things like that sort of help to motivate volunteers to volunteer for us. Another thing is just we go around because we just knock doors on different businesses and we say, hey, you know, do you want to join our repair cafe? You can also promote your business as well and sort of encourage more businesses to have a repair aspect to them, right? So if it's an electronics store or something, they would come to the repair cafe. And it's not like we're stealing business, right? Because we're only doing it a couple times a year. And I would say it's geared toward people who, you know, can't afford to otherwise repair things the traditional way. So I would say a lot of people are quite happy to volunteer. There are some businesses that are skeptical. So Yihang, she was actually going around to different, especially for electronics repair, and she was yelled at by some people. It was not very nice. They were basically saying, oh, this is sort of pointless because you can't find the parts, but that's sort of the point. Like we want to try to change that. And so, of course, there are going to be people against it, but that's fine. There's going to be people against anything, basically. But I think just being persistent and we have a lot of people who turn out at our events now, and it's just small baby steps. And when people see the impact that it has and sort of the community aspect, getting to know the people you work with, I think that's a huge draw for the Repair Cafe personally. So I don't know if anybody else here wants to talk about their experience with volunteers. But Olga?
I would just say trying to trigger the perfect places, for example, going to elementary schools. Like hosting an event where elementary school students will have to also ask their parents to somehow participate on this specific event, and then that's one way of incorporating the student and also the family member, and then from there just create community.
Yeah, it's all about community, that's for sure. Yeah, and I saw your question in the chat too, Alex, about what has been done to teach repair skills at schools. Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't think there's anything yet, but hopefully that can be a conversation we can have with you, Alex, because I know you're in the Faculty of Education and also Hart. But yeah, I think it would be great. We need to start these things when they're young, right? Even the recycling stuff, teaching people how to recycle. Of course, as Abby mentioned, we should start from reduce and then reuse and then, you know, recycle is the last step. But I think, yeah, early education is really important. Yeah. for sure.
That's
Cool.
great. Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, no problem, Alex. Okay, so there's some comments from Terry. So Salvation Army is a collection depot like PG Return It Center, anything with a battery, toy, appliances, electronics, small and large appliances. They accept, I believe, is what you're saying, Terry. Yeah. BC has the best recycling operations across Canada, all batteries accepted in print storage. There are 5 approved electronic recyclers. Yeah, and Terry, you're very knowledgeable. Yeah, Terry is a part of recycling environmental action.
Reeves.
Yeah, REAPS. I forgot what it stands for. Sorry, Terry is environmental action. What's the P? I don't know. Program, maybe, yes.
I'm trying to unmute myself. Recycling
Okay.
Environmental Action Planning Society.
Thank you, Terry. Awesome. Thank you. That's what REAPS is. Yeah, Terry had an operation, so she couldn't be here, but thank you, Terry. So junk in the trunk. Oh yes, that's another big event. So it's happening the next one, April 27th. It's a really big garage sale to assist keeping things from the landfill. Yeah, so definitely check that out. It's really fun. It's usually the responsibility of the consumer to be informed. Majority of items purchased has a hidden recycle fee associated with it. And education is the hardest tackle. Yep, that is true. Oh yeah, and there's a parrot guide that she put in the chat, so you guys can check it out. Recycle glass jars of the good store. Thanks, Joanne. Yeah, so there's a good store that just opened thanks to Joanne's effort. So yeah, basically you can talk a little bit about that, Joanne, if you like. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if your audio is. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can put in the chat about what it is, and then because your audio is not very good.
Everybody's welcome to go to the good store, and it's under the umbrella of PGPER, which is the Prince George Public Interest Research Group. And we are on campus trying to open as much days as we can before the semester ends, so we can have kind of like a sense of what the students are looking for. And in general, the whole community, like everybody is welcome to come to our store, and you can sell the stuff, you can buy stuff, and we sell bulk products, and we are a low waste pantry, so we ask you to bring your own containers. That's why we always are welcome to some donations of jars. And we partner with NAS, which is the Undergrad Students Association, so we can sanitize all these containers before leaving them for giving away for our customers. But yeah, basically that, and hopefully I can see some of you in our restaurant, or all of you. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Joanne. Yes, question from.
Isn't it a question that if we're putting plugs in?
Yes.
I know that you had homespun refillery as one of
Yes.
another presentation, but in a recycling setup, I think we should talk about homespun refillery.
Yes.
Because it reduces in an amazing amount. There's like no reason anymore in Prince George to buy anything in a plastic container. You can go to homespun refillery with your jar and you can buy anything you need. Like I buy my toothpaste with the same container every time it empties, you know, like it's like incredible. Like,
yeah, so Alex was just talking about homespun refillery. So unfortunately, we were supposed to have her in our last presentation on sustainable business practices, but she's also, she had a zero waste store in town. And yes, I highly recommend her products too. Because as Alex mentioned, there's no waste produced at all. You just refill it. It's a refillery, basically. Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up a barrier that I have personally experienced, that I have a severe peanut allergy, and a lot of those things that are produced in bulk often can't be guaranteed to be free from those traces. So that's something that I struggle with finding a lot. It's like I kind of had to take the stuff that like can be guaranteed, or else I might die. So
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
it's definitely something to like focus on, if that's or like think about.
Yeah. No, that's
I didn't catch that.
Sensitivity to what?
Peanuts.
Peanuts, severe allergy,
Oh,
yeah, so it's,
Yeah, it's hard, right? Yeah.
and I know I'm not the only one, so I thought it would be worth it to put that out there.
No, that's really good to know. So make sure you sanitize the jars really well. For sure. Yes, Manime.
This one's for Olga. She was mentioning composting and implementing that. As far as I know, Prince George itself doesn't have a composting system. So what's the plan? In-house composting within UNBC or?
Well, so, okay, Prince George doesn't have a food composting. Which kind of, yeah, it's not really good. We already have talked to the general manager of Fraser Port George. We had a conversation with her in regards to whether we're gonna have it in the future. And it's gonna take some time actually, because it takes a lot of planning, a lot of funding. But just to, in the more positive way to go, here at UNBC, we are getting an in-vessel composting. So we are gonna be composting our food here at UNBC. And then later on, we'll be selling that compost to other farmers. who
Yeah.
compost. But yeah, so UNBC is taking that example, and hopefully the whole regional district will take that example from us, and then they will soon have their own facility for composting. But anyway, did I answer your question?
Yeah, definitely, because I know I heard a lot about, like, there's different reasons for not doing it in Prince George specifically, because it is a thing in the Lower Mainland, it is the thing in the East where I've lived. But yeah, thanks for answering that.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there are some reasons why they don't have a composting. Well, it's also because they don't really, either they don't have the space, or they probably feel that it's better to, have you heard about carbon capture?
Yeah.
Sort of like at the facility, actually, they are able to, at the landfill, they're able to capture the methane gas and the carbon gas. So those gases are used for other things, like they're used for energy. So right now they're trying to think whether is it actually better to have a food composting machine, or is it just better to leave it the way it is by just capturing the gases and using it for energy. So we're trying to not me, oops, they are trying to figure out what the gas thing is. But probably a combination of both would be good.
Interesting.
That's okay. And Cindy, I know that BBRD wants to have an in-vessel composter as well. That's what Kate.
Correct,
Yeah.
and we are going to be getting one.
Yeah.
We're in the process of getting it.
Cool. So you'll be able to process your own organics and other people's, or just your own? For now.
About 10 tons a month.
10 tons a month. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's good news.
I just want to comment actually on Christina's presentation as well. And it's an amazing work that you're doing. I just hope it's a comment, or maybe you can answer, like, I think the work you did is actually also related to bigger issues like housing and homelessness. And perhaps you have done some work around it. I'm not sure if you could tell us that, how did you connect with that?
That was years ago. I started at the Habitat Restore, and then because the affiliate and the Restore are two separate entities, I was able to apply for the Habitat house. And so I built my house alongside volunteers, but then I also helped build them 5 more houses after that. So,
That's really,
yeah, I've learned every aspect of the building process.
that's really because I'm new to Canada, but I've seen that there's an issue of homelessness here.
Yes.
Your work is really important.
But unfortunately, our affiliate folded, like I said, so we don't have anything like that in town anymore.
Okay,
So I think our nearest one now is down south in Salmon Island.
I see.
Those two, yeah.
Anyway, great work.
Thank you.
Yes, Valerie.
My question was regarding the composting machines, like, are they for all food waste?
Yes.
Like meat and
Yeah.
dairy?
Farmers even used to put their dead pigs in there, so yeah, it can pretty much process anything. Yeah, so it's not only raw vegan stuff that we can currently accept at the moment. It will be everything.
We were looking at one and it was specifically for farmers where they could put like something like 9 dead pigs in it. Sounds disgusting, but that's what that one was built for, but yeah. But yeah, it's not just, yeah, you can put the proteins in, so the way they work, they get it hot enough and they move it and it works quite fast, so within 10 days or something, it works it through and makes it into the compost. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You think a person could go in there?
Wait, I guess if you cut it up, I don't. We don't do dead bodies, so I don't know. We're just doing little pieces of meat. Restaurant, yeah, we haven't researched that. We're just doing restaurant meat. We're not doing whole pigs or anything like that. So yeah, no farm waste.
Yes. And that comes to a different topic is about like burials and stuff. So there's green burials. I personally support that, but it's controversial because for religious reasons and other things, they might not want that, but it takes a lot of space to have, you know, traditional graves and all of those things. It's just my personal opinion, okay? But
Actually, it is very on the ground.
yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Without any.
Yeah, just a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is
Yeah.
this in India?
It's in Pakistan.
Pakistan.
So Muslims
Okay.
usually do that.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, we have some comments from Terry. Kitchen waste composting with the RD Regional District of Fraser Fort George been in the solid waste management plan for over 2 decades. Wow. So
Yeah.
many variables and hope to see in the next decade. It's about money. Yep, lots of research to do and happening. Jasper and Junoake?
Alaska.
Oh, Alaska, right, thanks. Compost organics with Windrow composting successfully. Guelph, Ontario's awesome composting facility, and PG has green burial plots. Really?
There we go.
Hey, really? I didn't know that. Good to know. Where do you find those green burial
What's that?
plots? We have green burial plots in Prince George.
Yeah, we do.
Really?
Cemetery, yeah.
I didn't know that. Good to know.
Yeah, we've had it for a few years.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, thanks, Terry, for that information.
Terrace also does windrow composting.
Mhm. Yeah, I think when we met, as Olga mentioned, they were talking about expanding their landfill area because that costs a lot of money and
Yes.
yeah. And so actually Fortis BC did approach them with the methane capture that Olga was talking about. They decided to go ahead with that. And that's sort of different than organics composting, right? You're just actually getting the organics for the methane. So it's a little bit,
Leaving it in the ground.
yeah, exactly.
So can you tell us more about that, Olga? So it's like an either or, so instead of composting for soil, it would be composting for methane?
Well, you need to put sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, I just sort of got this from what she told me, the general manager. But this is just a collaboration between Fortis BC and the regional district landfill. Where they have some type of, it's a connector where like you have the landfill, you know, it has like different toxins and also like different gases that go up in the atmosphere. But instead of going out in the atmosphere, it goes through sort of like a tube, and it goes and that tube like captures like methane gas and carbon dioxide. And those gases will go towards a different area to create energy. And it will be not really causing, you know, problems up in the atmosphere. But to be honest, I do need to sort of educate more myself on that because this is sort of what I understood from what she said. But maybe Sarah, maybe you have something else.
You're not composting it, you're putting it in the landfill as garbage, and the garbage makes the methane. So you put the food waste in the landfill, it makes
You
methane.
mix it in with the rest of the land?
Yeah, just like it is now.
Okay.
So that's
And
what
wouldn't
makes.
there be a way of doing this I just remember in the.
You don't get-
Days, we were trying those things to cook, right?
Right,
And so like, why couldn't you both compost and end up with soil and end up with gas?
so if you take the food waste, so if you make it a dry landfill, basically, what happens is, so you take the food waste out of the landfill, and you're only putting dry waste, what they would call dry waste in the landfill, which would unfortunately be mostly plastics, wood, drywall, because there's not a lot of drywall recyclers around. Mattresses, metals that shouldn't go in there, glass, all sorts of things that shouldn't really be in a landfill that could mostly be recycled. What happens is you get a buildup of sulfur gas, which is extremely dangerous. And you don't get the methane gases from the liquid waste that would normally be in there. So because the wood makes the sulfur gases in the drywall and it becomes a nightmare, or the drywall makes the sulfur, I'm not sure the sciences of it all, but it becomes where you don't get the right gas, which is the methane gas, without that wet waste. You need that wet waste. Oh, there we go. It's the anaerobic. Conditions.
Yeah, and composting is aerobic, and so it produces CO2, which isn't as good for energy as methane too. So methane is way better. Yeah.
So you have to have the food waste in the landfill to be able to get that methane gas, basically.
Yes, Valerie.
Within the recycling community, is there any discussion of like water recycling, like gray water and the recycling like human and animal species? Like, is like just like waste in general?
They're already doing that? Yeah.
Oh, where?
That's the planners.
Oh, right, like the
Through
pre-storage.
sewage treatment plants.
Yeah. But I would highly recommend you talk to Dr. June Garcia Becerra. She actually talks about how to do it in the household and stuff. So doing it at home, recycling your gray waters. And unfortunately, I don't think there's really an easy way to do it for just regular people, I guess, if you're living off grid, let's say, or in a rural area. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can comment on that, but I'm not sure if there's any technologies out there that can enable. For example, if you flush your toilet, if you can reuse that, for example. Yeah. And
It's possible because that's what earth ships do.
Yeah.
Right? So really, like you have to retrofit your house in quite an involved kind of way.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not easy, I guess, for the regular.
You end up with like there's like gray water and there's warm water and they go to different places. The solid waste is composted. But yeah, it's a pretty serious retrofit, so it's easier to build it in.
Yeah, good to know.
I also just want to know, like, Prince George is like a really special place, and it's like pretty far ahead in a lot of practices, especially a lot of practices that other municipals might not do at all. So I just want to like acknowledge that and say like the efforts going here are really awesome.
Oh, yes, well,
Thank you.
and that we have all these people here is hope for the future, for sure, yeah. But then that's one question I actually had is, well, for Christina, do you accept, I mean, do you get a lot of, let's say, trash from people because you're the only person that accepts these things? And how is it like by yourself having to sort through all this and manage everything because it's just you, right? And yeah.
Prince George is pretty respectful with recycling and sorting it out.
Okay.
And they all know that I'm just this little 5-foot woman, so they're pretty nice to me. They'll, if I don't want it, they'll take it away. But usually I can, like a door with a hole in it might have the door handles or the hinges or other things that
Thank you. Yes, Valerie.
Like, I noticed like a lot of these recycling are like very reactionary. Like, it's like reactionary to corporate industry that do make these wastes. And I noticed you mentioned it before, like, is there the chance, like, we could maybe like make Prince George like a zero waste city? Like,
Wow, that's a lofty
that-
goal.
I think it's radical, but like,
Yeah.
the solutions you guys are providing, they can like be taken to.
Yeah, you're right, Valerie. Other places like Vancouver, they have in their strategic plan, I think zero waste by 30 or something like that. But I think it requires not lobbying, but well, yeah, lobbying and also petitioning, protesting, talk to your politicians, because I think this has to be legislated, honestly. I mean, there's a lot that we can do ourselves, but without the top bottom, I mean, bottom up, we can do a lot, but top bottom, I think we need to have that aspect as well. I'm not sure what everyone else thinks here about that.
We're not 100% there yet. Like, we still need more commercial, industrial type recycling. Like residential, we have a bunch, but we still have to move. Government needs to move some stuff forward on the commercial side. And then you'll always still have a little bit of residuals that will always be waste. It won't be 100% zero that they found, but you can get close, I think. But yeah, there's certain things that still will need to go somewhere. And unfortunately, because of where we are, there's still going to be things that you'll always have a carbon footprint, because you won't be able to get rid of them here, and they'll have to leave Prince George, unfortunately. And
How much energy do you want?
yeah, you have to outweigh the how far am I sending it to? Is it worth it? For that carbon footprint, and then where's it going? And so there's a little bit of that too. So you just kind of have to decide what's the best option for certain things, and does it make sense?
That's why reduce and repair are essential.
Exactly.
And I wanted to say the city is currently consulting for their OCP, and so I encourage everyone to express themselves and see what we want.
Yes,
Lobbying.
that's true. Yes, get out there and express your opinion if you have issues with something. Yeah, otherwise, if it happens, then don't complain, I guess. I'm just joking. Yeah. Go out and vote and go out. Yeah, anyway. Anybody else on that? No? Also, I want to talk about a TerraCycle, Abby, if you're still there, is about the zero waste thing. So do you accept like almost everything that can't be accepted? And how easy is it for someone to do that, to partner with you to get rid of that?
Yeah, for
Wait.
sure. I'd say that our website's pretty good for consumer use. We have like a nice search bar feature where you can just like type in what you're looking to recycle and it'll pull up programs right there. There is a nice amount of free programs that larger corporations are sponsoring. Sometimes they will cap them off if they're getting too large of collections, and they bit off more than they can chew. But we always encourage them to continue to expand their budgets and accept as much waste as possible. So there are a large amount of free programs available to you. And then anything that does not currently have a free program that's being sponsored, we do have a lot of great solutions for individuals or small businesses they can utilize. Our zero waste boxes is a really great solution. A lot of smaller offices or individual households, or maybe like an apartment complex, something like that, they can group together and purchase one for those tricky to recycle waste streams. Things like PPE is a big one, especially during the age of COVID. There was tons of masks and like disposable gloves, things like that. So there's boxes like that that are great. Then snack wrappers, coffee capsules, all of those ones that don't really have any local solutions. I'd say that's what our bread and butter is. We always encourage people to utilize local facilities whenever possible, just because what like everyone had spoken about, right? There are going to be additional carbon emissions and water and additional waste when you're looking at shipping waste across the country. So you always want to minimize the impact, do everything as locally as possible. And then when you don't have a local solution, collect and aggregate until you get a really big amount, and then you can send it into us to be recycled properly. But yeah, I would say anyone's interested, definitely check out the website. There's a lot of good individual things you can do as a consumer. And then if you are a small business, small or large, there's also options for you guys out there as well.
Thanks, Abby. Mhm.
Will you tell me the website?
The website, it's terracycle.com, right?
Yeah, if you just type in terracycle.com, it'll pop right up.
Yeah, so I'll just put it here.
There's even a good amount, I'm not exactly sure of your specific region, but there isn't even a good amount of like local or community drop-off locations as well. Some like individual communities can sponsor them. Sometimes retailers will do it. If you're a small business, I know the refillery near where I live, they actually have a couple zero waste boxes that they use for some of the materials that don't have solutions. I know a lot of those like protein bars and the health bars, things like that. They usually unfortunately come in those flexible films, and that's a really tricky one it's hard to fully escape, you know. That's, I think, no matter how far along you are in your zero waste journey, there's going to be that like 5% of things that just don't have a solution that's locally or readily available.
Mhm. Yeah, and Abby, Terry asked if Tom is still around. Enjoyed meeting him in early 2000s. What a character.
Yes, he is. He's still our CEO. He's still making his rounds, speaking all the time. He is a quite a character, but yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, cool. Wow, I didn't know you met Tom. Is it Tom Zaki? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Olga has.
I have a question. I was just wondering how, because we're hoping to, the university to also partner with TerraCycle at some point. I know that schools can do that. I mean, you can create like a hotspot anywhere. I think that's what I read on the website. Yeah, because unfortunately, there are a lot of things in Prince George that you cannot really take it locally, be recycled. But of course, because of working with different partners like BBRD, Wall to Wall that we have, that we've heard about them, it would be easy to collaborate with them. But in regards to, like, for example, you take textile clothing, you take shoes, you take cigarette butts, you take like a bunch of things that I have no idea that you could take and recycle. But I sort of know how easy is it to partner with you guys, and also, is there also a chance to come and visit your facility just because apart from recycling, you can recycle as much as you can. It's wishful thinking by you, and also if you think it's going to be recycled, but is it actually getting recycled? Is it actually, what is the final project? What is the final end product at the end of the day? And that's what I'm mainly interested. I'm mainly interested in what's going to happen with the end product. So that's why I want to be able to visit. I mean, I know it's going to be so difficult to come and visit the TerraCycle facility because it's in New York, right?
So we do have operations. I think the Canada location's in Toronto, so pretty far away still. Yeah, it'll be on the East Coast. But yeah, we do have operations in New Jersey, in Toronto, and then I actually work out of our Chicago location as well. We have a material recovery facility right outside the city here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my second question was just how is it possible for people that represent Paul Secondary School, like for example Anne and myself, who wanna improve a lot of things here. Is it possible to do like come to facility and learn a little more how it works behind the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say for sure you guys should email me after, and we can see what we can coordinate. But we do a lot of work with schools, K through 12 ed, as well as higher education universities as well. So if you guys are looking to stand up some community collection points, we can work with you, figure out what free programs are available that you can get started, which ones maybe are looking for a sponsor still, set up some collections, and get everything going. It's always boots on the ground. that is the best way, right? Working locally. So love to hear all of the passion and the support. That's always how you get the largest collections and the largest community donations, right? Is when like things like education and signage are available and aware, which seems like you guys are taking the right steps to move towards that direction, which is awesome. But yeah, reach out to me after. I'd love to set up and chat about partnering together.
Sounds great. Thank you, Abby. Yes, one last question.
The composters, when the UNBC is buying and you're buying one as well, how much power does it take?
Good question.
And, yeah. Okay, so that's what I want to say.
Okay, so I don't know the specifics of how much power it uses. It does require motor because it needs to turn for the for it to get oxygen, because it's an aerobic process. But the amount of energy it uses versus the amount that, you know, would be emitted by a landfill, I mean, it's much less the impact than, yeah, the landfill. Yes, it's more it's highly reduced in that process. So it does require power, but the power, it gets offset by the fact that you are not emitting methane from putting in the landfill, basically, I would say, right, Cindy?
Yeah, it's minimal. It's really slow moving too, and it kind of creates its own energy within the composter because of the heat that it makes. And it's just enough to turn it, and it turns so slow, like every, I don't know how the burn works, but like it's like every couple hours or 12 hours even, like it's really slow. It does a turn kind of thing. It's not like it's constantly going. So it doesn't take a whole lot of energy.
So it doesn't heat the product, it's just.
No, the product heats itself.
So the product, okay, so there's no initial heat, so the compost creates the heat, and so it's just.
And actually, we're planning to do heat recovery, actually, somehow, to get that heat from the composter. Yeah, exactly, yeah, so, because it produces so much heat, yeah, And yes, sorry, Alex, you were gonna say something.
How much does it cost?
Okay, so ours, gosh, I forgot how much, I think it can accept 2,400 kilograms of stuff. Don't quote me on that. It's a couple thousand. And it's $90,000. Yes.
It's a big investment, but.
It is.
When you offset the amount of liquid waste going to PBRD though.
Yeah.
And the
That's
amount
true.
that we have to charge for it.
Yeah, like you're taking it out of landfill.
Yes,
The
thank you.
compactor's quite heavy. So you're taking the heaviness out of the compactor.
And you're not transporting it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can process all compost. Yes, Adrian.
Is there, you might have mentioned this already, is there any plans to like sell the compost like to farmers or something after?
Yeah, but actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we're a public institution, right? So we're just gonna give it away for free. Because we want to serve the public and we're not here to make money.
And
So-
David said too, you guys were gonna use it in your gardens as well.
That's right. Yeah, so actually Reaps, they're expanding, they will have gardens here, right, Terry? And with the David Douglas Botanical Garden expansion, and so we have plenty of compost to put around the grounds. Yeah. Now, thank you, Abby. I guess that's the last question. So yeah, let's give everyone a round of applause. Thank you so much.